Hey, Gabriel Blake, where are we?
Today we're in the Soma district of San Francisco at a dive bar called Lone Star,
Oh man, what are we doing here?
discussing cinema.
Oh my god! Does it mean that it's actually Gabriel go to dive bars to talk about cinema time?
Episode 2.
Oh my, already? Wow, that's going fast. And what movie are we going to be talking about today?
Tokyo,
Oh, okay.
with an
okay.
exclamation point.
Exclamation point, just to
Tokyo!
difference- Okay, Tokyo. So, yeah, I think that the last time it was me, the one that started, because you were the one that chose to watch Little Children. So I think that now it's time for you to go over what you thought about it first.
Alright, so the first time, did you see when this movie was released?
2007, I think?
So that's when I saw it the last time, 12 years ago.
13.
Oh yeah, it's not 2019
Not
anymore.
anymore.
Alright, whatever. So I remember each of the stories and I had distinct opinions about each one. And they changed a little bit. So I'll start talking, but why don't you rank them from best to worst? So I
okay.
want to see it where...
Okay, that's interesting. Let's just go back and I'm going to be doing like a small summary, for just remembering. The first one is the Michel Gondry one. I don't remember the title, but it's basically
Interior
spoiler.
design.
Interior design, okay. The second one is the Leos Carax.
That's your second favorite?
No. I mean,
I see.
just enumerating them. Murder. And the third one is the Bong Joon-Ho, Seiking Japan or Tokyo? Seiking Tokyo?
I don't remember the names of theirs.
So I think that my favorite one, it would be actually the country one.
Leos Carax?
No. Gondry.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, I thought
interior
you said
design.
the country one.
No. Gondry. The second one would be Bong Joon-Ho. And the third one would be Leo Carax.
Okay, so back in 2007, 13 years ago, I thought Michel Gondry's was the best. I actually had your same ranking.
Okay, that's
and
interesting.
then Bong Joon-Ho, and then Leos Carax. I thought I was going to like Leos Carax film more this time since we've seen more of his films.
Mm-hmm.
I did not. It wasn't great.
No, it wasn't.
I found all of it to be a little bit...
Oh, wait a second. What is your ranking then? Is that Leo Carax is like the bottom one?
So now, yes, for sure. And now I don't know which one I like more besides
they're pretty
between those
close,
two. I would definitely say that Michel Gondry's was more entertaining.
Yeah.
And it...
More to the point, I think.
But it also enveloped me in the characters relatively quickly. It was fairly intimate when they were sitting in their friend's apartment.
Oh, yeah.
And it was super horrifying when the boyfriend came and they're like,
What are you doing still
I
here?
thought they were going to leave, but they didn't understand.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when she turns into a chair, it's just like spectacularly done.
Spoilers! Okay.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it in 13 years.
Yeah, it's your fault. Yeah.
I thought the dialogue was the best in that one.
In country? Okay. Countries?
I felt like the fact that he explained what was happening in his metaphor in the conversation at the film screening, and I was like,
Well, staring at the camera like a bit more
what
of
happened to
exposition.
subtext, Michel Gondry? What happened?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I think that you spoiled to me that one of the stories, the Gondry story had a woman turning into a chair. And at the beginning of the movie, until they didn't get to the, like the airing of the movie that they recorded, like the boyfriend recorded, I just felt that, this could actually be the Bong Joon-Ho one. I don't know if it was the first one or not, So from that perspective, it's like until when they start like using the smoke and they say like, I've never seen you using smoke like this. It's like, no, people are crying, they're throwing up. It's like, this is a country movie.
I sell medical equipment, call me.
Exactly. So from that perspective, I thought that it was like a very Gondry-esque kind of movie.
Very.
It's like, okay, when she starts turning, when they're doing the showing of the movie for the first time, and when she's turning into a cherry, like, this is Gondry. This is 120% Gondry. Like, no one else would be directing this surreal thing.
It reminded me a lot of Exit Through the Gift Shop and how people thought it was fake because the original documentary that Banksy fixed was so absurd, nobody could believe that was an actual film. I was like, that's what this is.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that probably we should actually just start talking per each one of them, instead of mixing them up, liked it. I agree with you. There is the over exposition. It wasn't really needed. It was a bit more like, look, you already look at the camera when you say like, my girlfriend doesn't have any kind of ambitions.
That would have been enough.
Yeah, that's enough. Exactly.
Yeah,
It's like, look,
the same thought.
she turned into a chair and she's like helping out, the musician for just becoming his best version as a chair.
But what was the meaning behind that? She's like, oh, she's a doormat, and it makes her happy to be a doormat. All she wants to do is be something for someone to sit on.
Exactly. Yeah. That was basically it. It's like she doesn't have any kind of
she doesn't
ambition.
have ambitions.
No, she doesn't have any
interest.
kind of ambition or interest or anything by herself. It's like a bit more like, look, you have the potential for being someone. It's like, oh, everyone was asking, it's like, oh, so are you in the movie? It's like, are you like that woman that is in the movie? It's like, no, I'm not.
I'm just the girlfriend.
I'm just the girlfriend. I'm just like the, like the, how I say, like the flower pot. Yeah, I'm just here, looking pretty. I bring the beers, and that's basically what I do. So from that perspective, is like she already bought into that decision. That's what it suddenly makes her happy.
Yeah.
So, but I agree with you. It's like when she's like writing the letter about like, and I feel pretty happy because I'm helping someone just to. Sure.
And
yeah.
I'm living a ghost in between the buildings. That I thought was really poetic, actually.
No, I like that part. Where actually just start like saying like, okay, just the buildings don't touch each other, because it actually they're ghosted. They goes to that. The boyfriend is saying that, and then she actually just transforms into one of them because in society, basically, it's like women in Japan, they're basically that. Most of the women are just a placeholder.
Subservient.
Yeah. It's like they. I mean, it's pretty funny. When I was in Japan, there were some women, but most of the women in the office they were fairly young, and the only ones that they remained that they were like a bit more like over 30 years old. They were only on positions of just being secretary or anything like that. There was never like an exec level or some kind of, I don't know, like just individual contributor. It was a bit more of a supporting for other roles, and I had a feeling that actually comes from their culture. So I thought that from that perspective, like, okay, I see that country was trying to capture that aspect of their society, that aspect of, what is as Bong Joon-Ho also does another aspect of their society. I think that this was like pretty good from the perspective of
French person judging the Japanese society.
Sure, but it's exactly what you were telling a moment ago about like that's exactly what Japanese wants. Is that they want to take, they want to just look at their society through the prism of someone from outside the country. I mean, when I was there, it's like everyone was asking me, it's like, "Do you like our country? Do you like our country?" It's like, "What did you like? What is your favorite thing?" And I was like, "Okay."
For me, like, I love that Sofia Coppola filmed a movie.
Yeah, it captures so well everything.
So as I was watching it, I was thinking mostly exclusively before this, I had seen Michel Gondry as a music video director or a feature-length film director, and how I think he's very good at both, especially The Green Hornet.
You're never letting that one go. Never. Gondry. That's going to be on your grave.
And I couldn't help thinking that this should have either been a feature-length film or it should have been a Björk music video.
Well, sure, maybe as a pure video would have scored pretty well too, because it's pretty surreal, but I have to say that I don't agree with that. I think that for me, out of the three, it was like the best. That is, look, this as the 30 minutes that it lasted, it worked flawlessly. I don't need more development on any other characters. I think that it's great that you use enough characters, like for example, like enough challenges along the way, like losing the car or like spending time with the childhood friend, and they don't dive deeper into that. I thought it was like just perfect.
I agree with you to an extent, except when the conversation at the film reading where they basically explained what was going to happen, and I liked the touches of her turning into a chair, but I thought you don't have to explain to me the second half of the short film. That's why I thought like he didn't really handle the material well enough.
I mean, I think that is a bit more on the script. A bit more of a
he
problem.
wrote it, right?
I think so. Yeah. So from that perspective, I think that is a bit more. Look, if you actually have saved like 5 lines or 10 lines of this script, you have been like working significantly better. But I don't think that it would have been. That it would have benefited from just having more time, more runtime. I would.
Of course, it would have to be like other plot lines developed and
exactly.
stuff. But he was so good at developing those characters that I thought I would like to know more about them and not have everything explained to me.
I mean, I had like one of those situations. Okay, I would like to hear a bit more about the how you say the friend, the female friend that they actually spend time with on
In
their
her
apartment.
apartment?
In her apartment, is that I would like to just know just a tiny bit more, about her.
How did she get out of the little town and move to Tokyo?
Exactly, it's like how was his story? It's like what does she work for? It's like what exactly is she doing? What is like the reality of that woman? Is that just present me more women exactly how they adapt to the society in Tokyo? That would have been great. But it's clear that he had only just a single focus, like going to be like just focus lasering into just this
woman turning into chair.
Yeah, and it's like from that perspective that you don't need more. It's just a bit more okay. I have these ideas. I can actually do all the satellites story compelling enough, but I don't need to do more about it.
And not to beat a dead horse to death, but I really enjoyed the camera work when she was running naked through the streets and turning into the chair and stuff. I thought that was really, really beautiful.
Yeah. Funny, there is like some of those transitions, that is like, okay, I know what you're doing is that the woman is like running out of the frame and they're putting a chair in
and
there.
they go around the bus stop, and all of a sudden there's the chair there.
Yep.
I was like, that was awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Is that you're actually just playing pretty smart with this, with this resource. So I think that this was, as I was telling you, the most Gondry-esque work that I've ever seen.
Except the Bjork music videos.
Sure. Is that we can go to hyperbole or whatever. Like it's just Gondry as it gets, but it's like what I mean is like just having 20,
Did
30
he do
minutes.
the lesbian robots Bjork music video? All is full of love.
All is full of love. I don't remember. We have to check it out. But I think that this is something that it really worked really well. And it actually just portrayed like a really solid work. It's like if I actually had to just pick up, it's like just leaving all the music videos out, and I have to say, okay, what is my favorite piece? It's actually The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. But I don't think that it's as Gondry as this. I think that it's like really, as he didn't write the script, as he was a Kaufman, I think that this is way more representative of the style that Gondry has.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think it had some big problems.
I mean, I think the problem was like, look, this is something that you can just trim the script, like just 30 seconds, just remove 30 seconds, and it would be great. It'd be like a bit more subtle, a bit more mellow, than instead of like, I'm a chair now, I'm happy, thank you.
Also, what I found interesting about the guy she ended up being the chair for is it would have been interesting if he was like caring and loving towards the chair and was super grateful to have the chair, but no, he was just like freaked out. There was somebody behind him all the time.
Well, I mean, you have to think that he actually found the chair in the bathroom, like taking a bath.
For the metaphor, if this is what she wants, she should at least have some like adoration instead of just quietly freaking this guy that lives alone out.
Sure, maybe. I don't know. I mean, that's a bit more of a chair psychology, and I don't get into that.
Yeah.
So Bong Joon-Ho or Leo Carax? Merde.
Let's just
Okay.
go in order.
Okay.
So we just recently watched
Bad Blood. Maio Sangue, I think that it was in France.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I was always confused why they didn't translate the title.
Yeah.
So that had made two Leo's Carax. I mean, I saw this 1 year ago, but I had seen Pola X and Bad Blood. So I was expecting for some reason that I would understand this one, and I came ultimately to the conclusion there's nothing to understand, and he didn't really have a point, besides he wanted to upset Japanese people. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that it's actually one of the segments in Holy Motors is the same character. And this
I haven't seen this.
Yeah, but it is the same actor from Bad Blood. David Logan?
Yes.
I think so, at least. So it's basically his fetish actor doing a role that...
Denis Lavant.
Denis Lavant. And he actually repeats the same role, and he does exactly the same thing.
He's very good at it.
In Holy Motors, he does exactly the same thing. It's like he does like, okay, I'm going to be like just eating all the flour, like just pushing people around, being a fucking asshole.
He has the weird language. He speaks in the language.
He speaks in the language. But I thought that I was trying to just figure it out. It's like, what is the point of this? I understand that from a Gondry perspective, there is a bit more. There is a bit more of, okay, I want to just reflect on what is the role of a woman in society in Japan. In this one, I felt like, what is your point? What are you trying to do?
I didn't have one.
I mean, a part of me was thinking of it, okay, maybe it's about like just this kind of sensationalist media, because when he saw Sad the first time, is that they say like, horror in Tokyo is like, well, I mean, the only thing that he did is like just running from point A to point B. You know, he didn't actually just attack anyone.
He was licking schoolgirls' armpits. It's not like
Sure, but it's still something that is like, okay, he could have been detained, you know. And I don't know if there is some kind of critic perspective towards the inaction that Japanese people could take about like, okay, there is this weird guy that is harassing this girl and no one is doing anything. It's probably like just people are like just recording it and just for masturbating later. I don't know, you know, but from
I did.
You did, but from the perspective is I still don't know, and my problem is like I like it significantly more when he was like just exploring Tokyo and just going over like creating mayhem left and right. But when they show up the lawyer and they started just talking on their made up language, I felt like
it went way too long.
Yeah, it's like, look, these 20 minutes you can have removed them.
So I was like, is this a commentary like Parasite about class divisions and how people just see the people coming out of sewers? And I was like, no. And then when he finds the grenades and there's that big poster that's like in memory of our heroes, and I was like, is this about what Japan did in World War II? I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't. And then when they had the two protesting groups about he should
we love them,
us and people who didn't want to, and then I don't know.
So actually, that's the other thing that I was actually thinking about. There are a couple of points, like when they are presenting the news and other stuff, that I was thinking like maybe there is some kind of criticism towards the nationalist feeling inside of Japan. Because when he actually talks about it, when he's talking with the lawyer, he's just saying about like, oh, I hate Japan because they think so high of themselves, and they are not.
And then the lawyer was like, nobody asked you to immigrate here. We didn't want you. Then I was like, okay, well, Leos has an opinion about xenophobia, which they have significant.
Well, sure, it's completely fine. It's completely fine. But I think that if that was the point that he was trying to make, this failed the mark. Is that this was like really far away from the mark.
I think he was just trying to ruffle some feathers. I don't think he really had anything he wanted to say. He was like, what's every controversial thing I can do?
So just for sake of a polemic?
I think so. I mean, what do you think the point was?
Nothing.
Yeah, he had no point. I also felt that this particular short felt nothing like Asian cinema. I mean, I don't think anyone was trying to make Asian cinema, but this felt so fucking French. I was like, this can't be any country but France filming what's on screen right now.
That's fair. I will give you that. There was a bit more of a... You are not trying to emulate the style, because I think that, for example, there is one scene on the Gondry one that I love, is when they actually have like a shot that is pretty Gondry. They have a shot from above of the apartment where they're like just moving away on that very narrow space. And I think there is no space here for 3 or 4 people. It's insane what you guys are doing. You know, I felt like this is perfect. Is that you're actually just mixing up.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this is actually just mixing up your aesthetics with actually what is the reality in Japan, and that's amazing. You know, with this one I agree with you. There is nothing. When I actually compare it with the segment on Holy Motors, when they recover this character, it looks the same. It was like, well, the only thing is that you changed Tokyo for Paris.
I also don't think that Pola X or Bad Blood had any point at all. So I think that may be his thing, is let's just create something confusion and see what shocking I mean, that's an exaggeration, obviously, but I don't quite understand that director yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing that is, I want to think that all directors, they try to have some kind of point. I don't know if I want to keep trying to find Leos Carax's point, honestly.
Well, you recommended to me
Holy Motors. I think that you will find it, but it's like it's an enjoyable cinematography experience, but I don't think there is a movie that it has like a specific point. There are like some points that you could actually make.
So like The Road with Tarsem Singh, is it similar to that?
Okay, let's move to something else. So let's go on. You say that you couldn't actually decide between Gondry and Bong Joon-Ho.
So I remember 13 years ago thinking the third one by Bong Joon-Ho was the most boring. It didn't really resonate with me.
Okay.
I thought I could take this or leave it. At the time, I also didn't know, I think, who Bong Joon-Ho was, or I hadn't seen any of his movies. Is that about when Mother came out? No, it was about
No,
when
2007. It's close to The Host.
The Host. I think I knew about The Host. And so first off, I knew that this term existed, the hikikuro.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what it was until I saw it the second time in research. So apparently the life of this guy is somewhat common. Like, it happens. Young men don't leave their homes, and to a lesser extent women.
Yeah.
So that I found interesting. I also think that Bong Joon-Ho probably can relate to Japanese culture in a different way that we can.
In Korea. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I found it touching this time, I guess. I found the chemistry between
The main guy and
the girl. It was very, very brief, but
it worked pretty well.
The earthquakes underscoring their meetings and what it meant for them and what they were experiencing, I found it very beautiful. Ultimately, I think it went on way too long. Like, there's the scene where he tries to leave the house and he stands there for like 50 minutes just in the first shot, and then it goes into the shot by shot thing where it's like night and day, and I was like, I don't have the patience for this story.
I still thought that scenes were pretty well. That specific scene, I found that it like just puts this kind of, it made you feel uncomfortable, probably. It's okay, this is like lasting way too long, but probably the person exactly what he was thinking. He was feeling, it's like, what am I doing? I need to go out, but it's like, I don't want to go out, I can't go out. So I thought that the length of that, like from a direction perspective, I thought it was like just perfect.
And there were parts of it that I kind of wished weren't in it, like when the really vulgar delivery guy comes the week after the girl comes. I don't know.
Yeah, that made you feel uncomfortable. I think that it was a bit more of the contrast of the different kind of people. As I was telling you, I had the feeling that Gondry was trying to make a point on women in society, and then Bong Joon-Ho, he loves this kind of just how people relate to each other. Let's say there are different classes or whatever. That he tries to make the point is that, look, if this is such an overpopulated city, what about if people just decided to start saying, I don't want to do anything with anyone else?
I've never related to anything more.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, I think that actually works pretty well. Is that what about if that Hikimori?
Yeah, I keep looking it up, but I can forget it.
So what about if that prototype, that stereotype, it actually just generalized? Hikikomori. So what about if that specific approach to life generalized? What about if from one day to the next, actually all of Tokyo say like, no, we're done. But you still have like these very obnoxious out people that they are almost justifying these people for, I want to just stay home. I don't want to interact with this. Is that they're actually invading your house. They're just reinforcing your idea that you don't need to go out, you don't need to interact with these people on a daily basis.
That makes sense. Yeah, I get it. And I didn't quite know what to make of her tattoos.
Like the buttons,
Yeah, it's like, let's throw in something.
Yeah, something weird, something quirky in this. I don't know. I mean, the part that I was like just a bit confused about is when he goes to the street and he sees robot pizza delivery.
Yeah, what was that? Was it just like a symbol of how much the world had changed in 10 years?
I think that is also from the perspective of how advanced San Francisco, how advanced technologically Tokyo is and Japan is. And they're like willing to just take like new technologies and just changing the reality. So it's a bit more from the perspective of what about if the whole reality had actually taken this kind of style of life. We would need robots for just satisfying our needs, otherwise we'll be dying.
Or that robot would take the one human interaction that man had. It was going to be replaced by a machine at some point, so this was like his last chance.
I mean, I was thinking actually from the perspective that what about if actually he was falling in love with one of these robots?
Oh, I love her. So, I don't think it was intended this way, but after the second earthquake, where he's like getting her out of her house, and she's like, go away, and he like grabs her and rips her out of the house forcefully and then pushes the love button. I was like, this is a little rapey.
Yeah,
it's super rapey.
Yeah, that's the feeling that I had. It's like, I don't know exactly how to read this, because if you're telling me that this is how they interact with each other, about like, okay, I'm going to be convincing me that you are not forcing me to do something against my will, that you are forcing me to love you, that's No, that's not how it works. Stop touching me, please. It would be like pretty rapey. I fully agree with you.
So initially it felt a little offensive to me, but then I looked at his motivations and he seemed genuine in his motivations. So
What were the motivations?
He seemed to genuinely care for her and not want her to have the same fate that he did, was to be alone for 10 years. And so then I was like, okay, I'll look past the rape scene.
It was rapey, but not that rapey.
I mean,
so it was like a Polanski
acceptable
rape.
amount of rapey. You know, like Mormons used to marry 14-year-olds, but it was okay because it was like the 1850s.
God. Okay. So yeah, I agree with you that that scene like made me feel a bit weird. It's like I found it like quirky when she actually just collapsed on the earthquake, and he actually just pressed like waking up on the power button, you know. But at the same time, I don't know if he's tried to capture a bit more of the feeling that we have as humans about how easy it would be if we can actually change our minds about stuff.
Yeah, it seemed like fantasy fulfillment. Like he had no idea how to interact with people, and if there were only buttons that we could visibly see and press, so like I get it. And to comment on the scope of the short, I think Bong Joon-Ho's short was perfect in what it attempted to do compared to the first one, Michel Gondry's, where it felt a little off to me. I think the third one was just perfect in the story it tried to capture.
I agree with that, but at the same time, I think that Gondry giving more color to the, like satellite stories doesn't water down the end result. It just actually shows that he's a good storyteller.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
Yeah. So it's like from this perspective, I agree with you. There's like this story is like just the definition of a short is like I know they have 20 minutes and I'm going to be like, developing anything that I don't need. I don't care. Is that you don't care about like who the route delivery guy is talking with on the phone. Is that you don't give a shit about that. It's never going to be like just appealing to you. The only appealing thing about that scene is that how he's violating his temple, that is his house.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah. So, do you want us to give a score to each one of the stories, or should we actually just give an average?
I think because they delivered it in a package of 3,
Sure.
we have to score it as a package of 3. And I would give this... I wish I could review my scores.
No, you can't.
Wait, do you have to score first? Who has to
No,
score first?
I think that it's you.
I would say 6.5.
No, 6.5. Okay.
Yeah.
For me, I think that we should go with a 7.5.
So I was going back and forth between a 6.5 and a 7. But
Yeah, I mean the reason why we would actually go to a 7.5, I think that I was telling you this because I've seen other compilations of stories around a city, like for example Paris Jetain.
And New York, I Love You.
Obviously that one is bad,
It's
but
so
Paris,
much better. It's freer.
it's American. But Paris Jetain, I had a feeling that it actually has like good stories. They actually have like a good directors that they are like doing good stories around it. But when we actually get to New York, I Love You, I thought that okay, yeah, you still have like good directors. What you are producing here, Natalie Portman directs one, that's true. I was like, oh, it's garbage.
Also, statistically, Paris Jetain had like 10 films, so the odds of it having more...
Come on, but
better
this,
films-
I mean, are you telling me
there were some failures in Paris Jetain.
Okay, but there were like some failures that they were not as bad as the one from New York, I Love You.
We're not talking about New York, I Love You.
No, what I'm saying is like, okay, there may be like 1 or 2 failures, but it's like when you have 10 stories, 1 or 2 are like, this was not good.
Take the average quality of Paris, I Love You, Paris Jetain, and compare it to the average quality of Tokyo.
That's not completely fair. I mean, that's not completely fair because there are like a couple of, wasn't it like the Coen Brothers ones, the director of Amelie, they're like really, really good directors, and there were like some other people that's like, oh, you did an ad for Nivea? He said, that's great, and you're going to be like doing a short? It's amazing.
But it doesn't matter, they packaged them all together and delivered
I know,
them as a single product.
So as a single product, I have the feeling that it's Paris Jetain is a lowest product than Tokyo.
It's like 4 rooms. Only Quentin Tarantino's was decent.
That's true, but with this one, I had a feeling okay, you go with 3 good directors, but it's a bit the perspective of these 3 directors are going to be delivering something good. They are directors that they have something to say, albeit we don't understand what Leos Carax
No, I
has
have
to say.
no idea. At some point, I will make you watch Polar X. I'll make us watch Polar X.
No, that's absolutely fine. So from that perspective, it's like I wish that they were more, like Madrid exclamation point. Ole. Ole. Madrid.
Barcelona.
No, never. So from that perspective, I would like to actually see something that is a bit more like three directors that they are like really good, that they actually spend time, because this actually looks. I mean, one of the best shorts on Paris Time is the one with the mimes. Is it?
I haven't seen that movie in years.
Okay, so if it's okay, you're like playing a bit with the tropes. It's true that you are like one of the French directors, but you're still playing with the tropes. You can just do something better. It's like here, no one was playing with the tropes. Everyone was just trying to dig deeper.
So I think we were discussing this before we started recording about this idea that Tokyo loves to hear the perspective of the outsiders.
Yeah.
And that's why they invited 3 non-Japanese directors to make this. If they were to make a Madrid, would you want, as a representation of a city you've lived in, Spanish directors, or would you want like 3 Americans?
I would love to actually hear the opinion from Americans. Well, not Americans, because Gondry is not American, Leos Carax is not American,
Oh, no, I know,
and Bong Joon-Ho
I know
is
the
not
nationalities
American.
of those
Okay,
movies.
that's what I knew. But no, I would like Haneke doing a short,
That would make Madrid so sad.
I would love that, It's like, just bring me like the sad part, like not the lovely part.
Okay, wait. Let's just change this conversation to you pick the 3, and then I'll pick 3 for I Love You, San Francisco.
San Francisco, fuck me. No, I would actually go probably with Haneke for just giving like something completely different, like a different, completely different approach. Then probably I would go with something a bit more of outlandish. I mean, maybe the Coen brothers, like American directors, about like, I have no idea what you guys could do with this. So let's see, if you can actually just capture the feeling of what is going on here. And probably there is this director that I think I mentioned to you a couple of times, that is Isabelle Cossette, and she's very, I don't know how to say this in English, but ñoñas, like corny, She got like really good ideas, but always the execution, I feel like, wow, this is so corny. It's like, how did this end up here? So is this hit woman that she's like an expert in assassination, but at the same time she always cries when she looks at Salmon, and she falls in love with a piano player. It's like, what is the point of this? It's like, how did you come with this idea? And she makes it work, but at the same time it's like, this is so freaking corny, but it usually works. So I think that one of the directors that I will go with, instead of going with Bong Joon-Ho, I will go with Kim Ki-duk.
I don't know who that is.
Holy shit, I know from our next movie. Okay, that's great. So Kim Ki-duk is a Korean director, and he has like always this kind of quirky, weird, outlandish, slow-paced stories, He's like pretty famous. I think he was nominated to the Oscars by Iron 3. And it was like the love story between a guy and a girl, but the girl is actually married to another guy, and he just pretends to be a ghost. So all the scenes, like, he's just like in the background, and always when she's like hugging her, it's like between the husband,
Are you describing Voltaire?
No, it's not, but there may be like some similarities there. So I think that I will actually go with that. Is like, I think that he could actually create something like pretty romantic on the same idea of Isabelle Cossette, Coixet, but with a bit more of an Asian sensibility.
All right, good choices. I mean, I've never heard of one, so
Okay, maybe it's terrible. I don't care. What about you? What are we like, San Francisco? Fuck me.
Kelly Reichardt, 100%. I think she's one of the best directors.
You told me that. We have
today.
to watch something.
Yeah, no, she's incredible. And I would like, she does these very small scale, intimate stories that I think.
What do you think that her story could be? Would be about like 420 Natoma?
I don't know. Fuck you.
Of low bodies. What do you think that she could actually do?
Eros.
Okay, that's good.
And then I would also pick Michael Haneke, because he can kick me in my balls any days he wants.
That's true. It'll be fine to just see that what he comes up with.
And then the third one, honest to God, I would love to see Lars von Trier direct something. I would also like to see Almodovar do a San Francisco story.
Oh, that'd be cool, actually. Yeah.
So, if I had to commit, I would probably just break the tie and say Michael Bay.
That's good. That's a good, like, just compromise. It's a good
related
compromise.
with The Rock.
Dwayne Johnson, it's your time to shine.
No, it'd be, sorry, I know I'm cheating by choosing 4, but it would be Kelly Reichardt, Haneke, Almodovar and Lars von Trier.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to go with Lars von Trier. I felt like it would be a bit
We
of
would
fun.
have picked two of the same.
Yeah.
You know you would pick. I mean, I want to see anybody in San Francisco get pissed on at the end of the movie.
So, John Waters.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. I mean, I think that it actually just suits him, you know. But in any case, you say Haneke, Almodovar,
Kelly
Lars
Reichardt.
von Trier. Okay. But it's like, he's American.
Yeah, but it's an American city. I would want
You
to see an
cannot-
American. I have to pick a foreigner. Can they be dead? Because Ingmar Bergman.
Like 30 hours in San Francisco. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. I'm going to be like keeping you your first choice.
It could be like Tarkovsky having somebody drive from
Oh
San
my
Jose,
god.
San Jose to the marina in real time.
Exactly, and just taking like 5 hours in rush time,
But in
you know,
black and
6 hours.
white.
Okay. Oh, no, I know, I wouldn't do that.
No, if I'm really picking another foreign director,
It has to be alive.
has to be alive. What's the name of the guy who did Y tu mamá también?
Cuarón? Alfonso Cuarón?
Yeah, that guy.
Okay. Whatever his name
But it
is.
has to star Gael Garcia Bernal. I don't like that Diego Luna. Don't include him. Gael Garcia
Okay,
Bernal.
that's the only thing. Hey, Gael
Tilda
Garcia
Swinton.
Bernal. Yeah, Gael Garcia Bernal. I think that's Swinton going to blow bodies.
All joking aside, I'm totally blanking on names right now because we've been drinking. But who did Only Lovers Left Alive?
Jam Harsen, I don't remember his name. You had your phone there. That guy, but he's American.
for sure.
No?
Is he?
I think so, no?
I don't know. We'll have to Google that.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
we'll
answer
have to
that
just leave
question
it.
next
Yes, the
time.
homework.
Episode 3.
And episode 3 is going to be Europa.
Yeah, let's commit to that. I downloaded the torrent, so I have a great
This is legal.
VPN.
This is legal.
Sponsored by.
Okay, Blake. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks,
that was
Gabriel.
pretty enjoyable. Gabriel?
Gabriel.
Gabriel? Oh, Gabriel. Okay. I thought like Gabriel. No, that's weird. Okay. Well, this was a pretty long podcast. Okay. Well, thank you guys for listening. See you next
Ciao.
week. Bye.